savings account from anywhere. Go online and open yours today.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
Kingston mayor urges arcade vendors to pay up. Fire engulfs several houses in downtown Kingston. It inspired Jamaica looking ahead. And later in sports, Cavalier continues its winning streak. Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Sunday, March 15, 2026. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Curlin Brown. And we begin with a developing situation out of central Kingston. Reports reaching our newsroom indicate more than 6 houses are currently on fire along James Street and Smith Lane. Emergency crews are reportedly responding to the blaze as residents scramble to protect their houses and belongings. Details are still emerging at this time, including what may have caused the fire and whether anyone has been injured. Of course, we will continue to monitor this developing situation and bring you updates as more information becomes available. The police in Manchester are probing a double murder in land settlement Saturday afternoon. Dead are 30-year-old Yaniki Shaw, otherwise called Yankee, a farmer of Comfort District, and 21-year-old Damien Edwards, otherwise called Damie, of Melrose Gardens. Reports from the Williamsfield police are at about 3:50. Both men were at a bar in the community when a motor car drove up. A gunman reportedly alighted from the vehicle and opened fire, hitting both men before escaping. The injured men were taken to hospital where they were pronounced dead. It's alleged the incident may be connected to a previous shooting in the community on February 8 when a father and his 4-year-old daughter were shot. The child later succumbed to her injuries. Investigations are ongoing. Now, Jamaica has recorded some of its largest ever firearm seizures in recent months. Law enforcement officials say new scanning technology and intelligence-led targeting have significantly increased detections at the island's ports. But authorities warn gun traffickers are also becoming more sophisticated in how weapons are smuggled into the country. We get more from Akeem Orrit.
Jamaica is seizing more illegal guns than ever before. Among the most significant discoveries, a landmark interception of more than 200 weapons hidden inside a water heater in May of 2025. Statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force show firearm seizures have increased by double digits in consecutive years. Senior communications strategist at the JCF, Senior Superintendent Dennis Brooks, says stronger intelligence gathering and improved partnerships are helping authorities intercept weapons before they reach the streets.
Jamaica Customs has become increasingly efficient at what it does. It's a contactless clearance process. It's non-invasive inspection process has improved. The quality of its scanning capacity has improved. And so we are getting better at doing so. So in getting better at detecting and seizing these things, we are now faced with the reality that maybe what we've always believed, we have greater empirical evidence to point to where and what these guns look like coming into the country.
SSP Brooks says, unlike state agencies, criminal organizations are not restricted by procurement rules or spending limitations.
Successive administrations and particularly more recently have decided to empower the relevant state agencies and departments and ministries to go after these modernizing criminal entities. And from a JCF perspective, I think that we have been an entity that have been modernizing and transforming more rapidly than ever in our past. That has allowed us to be able to go toe-to-toe in various areas, and which is why we see crime trending in the way that it is.
While acknowledging that Jamaica is making progress in reducing the flow of illegal firearms into the country, SSP Brooks says continued improvements in intelligence and border security are imperative.
We have to have a greater impact on the supply side. The source, we have to have a greater, and we continue to have a great impact, and we continue the relationships with our international stakeholders to make those to dry up those channels from which they emerge.
Akeem Oret, CVM News.
With more attention being placed on issues surrounding mental health, including pressure of single-parent households, psychologist Michelle Harrison says it's better to focus on ways to deal with stressful situations which have become part of everyday life. Natasha Williams explains.
Data from latest Jamaica Health and Lifestyle Survey indicates that 1 in 7 Jamaicans suffer from depression. Clinical psychologist Michelle Harrison is now urging Jamaicans to normalize living with stress.
I think the first thing to do is to normalize stress. Stress is a part of life that unfortunately we will have to deal with and we will have to cope with. The next part of that is understanding that it's important for us to learn effective coping strategies.
President of Choose Life International, Dr. Donovan Thomas, however, believes that some stress can be minimized with proper conflict resolution techniques.
Our people have not learned to resolve conflicts properly. So they attack the person rather than the problem. Many times they use the situation that they are dealing with to be able to act out. But there are so many people in our society who are depressed, who are dealing with issues, but they are covered up. And so the society does not know that they need help. But when there are reversals in life, they could decide, you know what, I can't bother, I'm going to kill myself.
Dr. Thomas said based on research, approximately 50% of the nation's population suffer from mental health issues. Ms. Harrison said parents should not underestimate children's ability to understand what's happening in the home, as kids too understand and face undue stress.
So if they are seeing their parents maybe appearing more tense, this can cause them to feel pressure. They may also be aware of financial pressure. In terms of the adults, quickly, we do have work pressure, and that could be related to, long working hours, and when you look at it, you realize that the pressure for children is not that different from the pressures for adults.
In echoing her sentiments, Dr. Thomas is encouraging parents and society to help people to get past their past.
One of the things that is going to help us is that if we build stronger relationships, children, teenagers who have stronger relationship with their parents or an adult, they are more resilient. Where our students are aware of and have access to local health services, where they're able to call a number to get help, they are in a better position to manage the emotion.
Recently, a single mother of 5 who reportedly suffered from a mental illness was killed in Trelawney after she allegedly stepped out in the path of a moving vehicle. According to her relatives, this unfortunate incident occurred just days after the now deceased complained of feeling pressure from her life as a single mother.
Stress can lead to mental health challenges. And I think once you're feeling pressure, any type of pressure, that's an immediate sign to begin, if you need additional support, trying to seek additional support.
Yes.
For that mother, we also have to understand that there may be some more serious mental health issues taking place, hence the suicidal ideation and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, that is when you try to seek professional support.
Natasha Williams, CVM News.
The political debate over the country's economic direction is intensifying following the government's latest tax measures. Finance Minister Favour Williams has introduced an $18 billion tax package as the country grapples with the fallout from Hurricane Melissa. But opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, says the government has prescribed the wrong solution at the wrong time. Akeem Orit reports.
The economic impact of Hurricane Melissa continues to shape Jamaica's fiscal debate. According to the Planning Institute of Jamaica, the storm caused damage equivalent to more than half of the country's gross domestic product, contributing to a 1.4% contraction in the fiscal year now ending. In response, Finance Minister Favour Williams has announced an $18 billion tax package alongside an $11.4 billion transfer from the National Housing Trust. But opposition spokesman and finance Julian Robinson argues the measures come at a difficult time for Jamaicans still recovering from the hurricane.
We must never get ourselves in a false sense of normality, mainly because we are in the eastern part of the country. But there are many people in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, who have no house, whose livelihoods have been totally destroyed. If they're farmers, they're everything out. People who have no roof over their head. Now, at a time like this, when there are so many Jamaicans, and we're talking about thousands of Jamaicans who are yet to get back on their feet, 4 months after a hurricane, we do not believe additional taxes is the appropriate thing.
Robinson is instead proposing an alternative approach, electronic invoicing, which he says could improve tax compliance and increase government revenues. He projects that a 2% improvement in compliance across a $430 billion tax base could generate $8.6 billion. Robinson pointed to examples in countries including Mexico, Chile, Uruguay, and Peru, where electronic invoicing systems have strengthened tax collection.
There's already a system in place, so it's not that TAJ started from scratch. They have a system where people can upload it. The difference is this becomes mandatory. You're not depending on the business to put in an invoice. Sometimes people may not post all their invoices, or something may slip between the cracks. So there may be need for more IT support or to upgrade the system to facilitate this. But I believe it can be implemented within this fiscal year, and that's why our estimates of 2% are so conservative, given that you would be introducing this thing in the fiscal year.
The remainder of his proposed financing, roughly $15.6 billion, would come through Treasury bills, effectively increasing domestic borrowing. However, analysts note that such a move would come under scrutiny from institutions like the International Monetary Fund, particularly as Jamaica's recent credit stability has been tied closely to strict fiscal discipline.
What we are proposing increases debt to GDP by 0.44 of 1%, right? And it provides you with puts you in a better position to build back your revenue base, to grow your GDP quicker than trying to extract $18 billion from a contracting economy. So you can get back to your pre-Melissa debt to GDP numbers quicker this way than sucking $18 billion out in new taxes from a shrinking population.
The budget debate continues on Tuesday with opposition leader Marco Golding. Reporting for CVM News, I'm Akeem Art.
Caribbean politics is entering a new democratic era where many factors continue to drive down participation. That's according to UWI Mona's Dr. Lisa Vassiani, who shares voter apathy is not unique to Jamaica. Nika Lewis tells us more.
Declining voter participation is not unique to Jamaica, but has in fact become a trend across several Caribbean democracies. Dr. Lisa Vassiani reasons participation in elections across the region has been falling.
Taken together, they suggest that the central challenge facing Caribbean democracies today is not breakdown, but engagement. First, voter turnout. I'm nervous to ask how many of the young people in here are registered to vote. Don't answer. Participation across the region declined, confirming that this is not a COVID-era anomaly, but a structural pattern. Jamaica recorded voter turnout below 40%.
In Trinidad and Tobago, she says it was approximately 54%, the lowest since 1941, adding even other areas with usually higher turnouts have been seeing declines. She decoded the issues behind the figures.
Low turnout is not apathy alone. It reflects alienation, mistrust, and a growing perception that electoral outcomes do not meaningfully alter lived political realities. Second, issues with campaign finance. Every observation mission in the region, whether from the OAS, the Commonwealth, CARICOM, or the EU, flagged weaknesses in campaign finance regulation, political money. This continues to circulate with insufficient transparency or accountability, quietly reshaping political competition.
Dr. Vassiani also cited concerns around digital politics and disinformation as factors driving many away from participation at the polls.
Unverified claims circulated rapidly through WhatsApp and Facebook, often outpacing institutional capacity for correction. Electoral governance now extends well beyond the ballot box into the digital political space, and our laws have yet to catch up.
Even factors such as race, age, and gender featured in her findings as they continue to shape political credibility across the region, influencing who she says is perceived as legitimate.
Together, these trends reveal elections that remain procedurally sound, but increasingly strained in their capacity to generate broad democratic consent. Taken together, these patterns do not point to democratic collapse. Elections remain competitive, outcomes are largely accepted, and our institutions continue to function. What they point to, however, is a transformation in how democratic consent is produced, contested, and sustained under conditions of heightened visibility and geopolitical scrutiny.
She was speaking recently at a UWI Mona seminar on the topic, Caribbean Ballots in a Geopolitical Age Beyond Free and Fair Elections. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
State Minister for Industry, Investment and Commerce Delano Seavright says artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping the global services sector, but should not be viewed as a threat to Jamaica's call center industry. Speaking at the launch of the Portmore Incubator and Linkages Forum at the Portmore Informatics Park recently, Seavright says while AI will handle routine tasks, human skills will remain critical.
But AI must be approached with clarity. There is hype and there is reality. The hype says AI will wipe out call centers. That's hype. The reality is AI will automate routine transactions and low complexity interactions. But it will also elevate the importance of human judgment, complex problem solving, emotional intelligence, escalation handling, and trust building, especially in high-stakes environments.
He adds Jamaica's global digital services sector continues to play a major role in employment and economic growth, as the industry provides tens of thousands of jobs while supporting several other sectors across the economy.
Jamaica Global Digital Services sector, guys, formerly known as the BPO sector, employs just over about 50,000 young people primarily, right? Largely in Portmore, Montego Bay, Kingston, surrounding areas, Mandeville, and so on. So that's 50,000 livelihoods, many thousands more indirectly supported through transportation, food services, security, rentals, maintenance, local supply chains.
Do stay with us. We'll continue right after this.
Tax time. There are now 2 due dates for filing final income tax returns. All personal income tax returns, such as self-employed persons, individuals, partners, and partnerships, must file and pay their income tax returns by March 16. For corporate bodies, your income tax return is now due April 15. The due dates for all estimated tax returns filings and quarterly payments remain the same: March 15, June 15, September 15, and December 15. Visit jamaicatax.gov.gm or call 888-TAX-HELP for details. Tax Administration Jamaica, working together to serve you even.
Thanks so much for staying with us. We have regional and international news for you now.
We begin with news in the region. Questions are now being raised about the future leadership of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force as the one-year contract of Police Commissioner Vern Gard comes to an end. Authorities in St. Lucia are yet to indicate whether Commissioner Gard's tenure will be extended or if a new appointment will be made to lead the island's top law enforcement body. For more on this story, we turn to DBS TV.
Police Commissioner Vern Gard's contract ended in early March. The DBS News World has confirmed with reliable source that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force's 2 deputy commissioners of police are holding down the fort in the interim. Official word has yet to be released on whether Gard will be reappointed or if a new commissioner of police will be named to lead the force. Gard was first appointed to the position in an acting capacity on September 2nd, 2024 for an initial 6-month period. He was then reappointed on March 2nd, 2025 under a year-long contract.
I would like to take this moment to engage the people of St. Lucia and say to them how thankful I am to be given the opportunity to play the role of the Commissioner of Police in St. Lucia. It is a job that I intend to do in a very organized and systematic way.
From the beginning of his tenure, Gard used community policing as one of his major strategies to gain public trust and curb crime. Additionally, Course 38 and 39 saw the addition of 176 police officers, bolstering the force's human capacity. He oversaw the integration of new tactical assets and technologies, including a digital crime database for the force. Crackdowns on road traffic law infringements heightened with the RSLPF's Traffic Department rebranded as the Department of Road Safety and Traffic Investigations. During his last press conference before his contract ended, Gard took the opportunity to stress that no quota for traffic tickets or quotas related to any other policing matter had been given by his office.
In international news, the head of the Federal Communications Commission in the United States is warning that some broadcasters could risk losing their licenses over how they report on the war involving Iran. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, who was appointed during the administration of Donald Trump, made the comments in a social media post saying broadcasters must operate in the public interest. France 24 tells us more.
Free speech groups blasted Carr's warning, calling it outrageous. Well, to discuss this further, I'm joined in the studio by our International Affairs editor, Philip Terrell. Philip, it's great to have you with us. So, as we were just discussing there, the Trump administration is busy calling out the press for headlines it doesn't like, coverage of Iran. The defense secretary as well proposing alternative headlines. So just in this moment in time, how hard is it for journalists to do their job under this sort of pressure?
Well, in any war situation, it's never easy for journalists to do their job, to obtain unbiased information and to install checks and balances on who's telling the truth and who isn't. And I think at this particular point in the United States, it's even more complicated. We've had these belligerent attacks against free media in the US since the Trump administration got back into office last January. The Associated Press, CBS News, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, even Britain's BBC have all come under attack. Threats from the Trump administration. So it's making it much more complicated for them to do their job properly.
Now, as we continue to prepare for an extended Inspire Jamaica, a peek now at a natural transition from our teenage ambassador, who has shared her ambition to an adult who has gone the distance of fulfilling that very dream career.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Nodia Watson seems set at 18 on her career path.
Since grade 11, grade 10, I've been into the whole engineering scene and all that. And when I graduate again from sixth form, I'm hopefully going into mechanical engineering at university, God's willing.
Don't think about it as this is too much for me. One step at a time, by the grace of God, with commitment to quality work, and you should get there.
Speaking of that, God's willing, I've also now given my life to God a lot more. I've now been baptized, safe to say, and it's been an interesting journey from that point on. Not gonna say life has been easy like that before and after, but it has been a lot more worth it, more peaceful.
Not only has her dreams come true, she's still peaceful with her choice.
I would still do engineering. I'd still choose engineering. I think based on where I'm at though, the perspective is a little bit different. You can apply yourself in so many different ways now that you're an engineer, so I wouldn't give it up. And I think the benefits of having done this line of work and training far exceed anything that I could have imagined, so I wouldn't throw it out. What I would say is that now that I've been here, I can look and see how can I apply myself in different areas.
Facts. Not every child has that opportunity of walking in their parents' footsteps. Nodia's choice of pursuing engineering is far from her parents' profession. I wonder if this engineer's son wants to be an engineer too.
Come, let's have a talk. Justin, what happened now?
What did her parents say when she told them?
When I decided that I wanted to do engineering, when I verbalized it in the way that traditionally we know I want to be an engineer, my parents were a little bit skeptical, but my mother said, okay, if this is what you want to do, let's try it for a summer, and then if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then we move on and think. So he got me a internship at a consultancy firm for structural engineers, and I was over the moon. I enjoyed it and I did well and I was hooked. So from there on, we just maintained that this is what I wanted to do. At the time I was at the Queen's High School. They didn't offer like technical drawing or anything like that, or building construction, anything. So in a discussion with the vice principal, I said, this is what I wanted to do. And she said, well, unfortunately, we don't do that. You would have to pursue it outside of the school if you are really interested. But I continued. I did the sciences, of course. And when it was time for me to decide now to go to university, again, the discussion came up, and my parents were like, "Are you sure this is what you wanted to do?" And I was like, "Yes."
We found out that her decision was cemented long before high school, which makes her journey that more